So with this year's Galaxy Note, Samsung decided to make a decent amount of changes, and while most of, if not all of them, are welcome, they resulted in a lot of comparisons to Samsung's very own Galaxy S7 Edge. There are quite a few people out there saying that the Note 7 is pretty much a slightly larger S7 Edge with a stylus, and while at first this may seem like the case, there's definitely more to it than that. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at what exactly separates these two devices and which one is right for you. So for starters, both phones share a very similar footprint, with the Galaxy Note 7 measuring in at just about 1mm wider, 0.2 of a millimeter thicker, and 3mm taller, so not a huge difference there. They both sport micro SD card slots, fingerprint readers, and depending on where you get them, they'll both have the same Snapdragon 820 processor, the same 4 gigs of RAM, the same IP68 dust and water resistance. They have the same 12 megapixel f1.7 rear camera, as well as the same 5 megapixel front facing camera. They both have beautiful 2K Super AMOLED panels, and they're both wrapped up in very slick looking glass and aluminum bodies, with the Note 7 being equipped with the newer, stronger, and more durable 7000 series aluminum. Now with that glass on the back, while it might look nice, it won't after you start using the device, as it's going to get covered in fingerprints. So to aid this, I went ahead and slapped a dbrand skin on both of mine, so no more fingerprints, and if you want to get your hands on these ones I have here, I'll go ahead and leave a link for them down below in the description. Now while both of them have slightly different sized screens, they both have curved edge panels with the same edge functionality, which we thought would be unique to devices with the Edge name. I guess not. Now the curves on the Note 7 screen are a good amount more subtle, so it makes it a lot easier to hold it and use it in one hand. So with all of these similarities, it's easy to see why so many people think of the S Pen being the only real difference maker here. But the differences are there. Some just aren't going to be instantly noticeable, at least to the general consumer. For starters, the Galaxy Note 7 has the latest iteration of Corning Gorilla Glass 5, which Corning claims is a good amount stronger than the S7 Edge's older Gorilla Glass 4. So with Gorilla Glass 5, you're going to have a screen that's more shatter resistant, so you don't have to worry about drops as much, but unfortunately, according to some, Gorilla Glass 5 is more prone to getting scratched compared to Gorilla Glass 4. So it appears that we gain and lose something here with this update. While the screen on the S7 Edge may not be as shatter resistant as the Note 7 screen, you may not have to worry about scratching the display as much as you would with the Note 7. Take your pick. If you do get a Note 7, it'll probably be a good idea to pick up a screen protector as well. But as far as most other differences go, most of, if not all of these, can easily be considered advantages on the Note 7 side. While both devices are very similar in overall size, the Note 7 does have a slightly larger display, and although 0.2 of an inch doesn't sound like a lot, you'd be surprised how much of a difference it makes while using the Note 7's 5.7-inch display over the S7 Edge's 5.5-inch display. Now even though both phones have 2K AMOLED panels, the Note 7 does have an upper hand here with mobile HDR capabilities, and what this allows for is viewing HDR or high dynamic range content on the phone. And if you've been in an electronics store like Best Buy for example, chances are you've seen some of these HDR enabled TVs, and you can check out all the content with the brightest whites, the deepest darkest blacks, and the most overall color possible. Now while there isn't a whole lot of HDR content to view on mobile, it's definitely slowly but surely coming into play as more companies will begin to push this content out for us to view. The differences continue when talking about software and everyday use. As of this video, both devices are running Android 6.0.1 Marshmallow, and of course, they both have Samsung's TouchWiz skin slapped on top. But as you'd expect, the newer Note 7 has a newer, more refined and cleaner version of TouchWiz, this being the new Grace UX with added features like a more toned down, more organized, and easier to navigate settings application. You've got a blue light filter for nighttime use to help you get better sleep. You have a new set of power saving modes, they're called Mid and Max. Mid power saving mode will limit CPU speeds, cut down on animations, prevent background network usage. It'll limit the screen brightness to a maximum of 90%. It'll change the system resolution to FHD or 1080p. And all of that is supposed to save you a decent amount of juice, whereas the max power saving mode takes it a step further. Just like the mid mode, max mode will also limit device performance and prevent background network usage, but it'll limit maximum brightness to 80%, and it'll adjust the system resolution to 720p. There's also the fact that max mode pretty much waters everything down by enabling a very simplistic user interface and only allowing a few apps to be accessible. Now what's great about these modes is that they're customizable to your liking, so you can really make them work the way you want them to, which is great. Now you also have what they call Secure Folder, which just might be the most underrated smartphone feature of 2016. You can use Secure Folder to store simple things like pictures, applications, personal info, and more. This ensures that whatever you store in this folder cannot be accessed from anywhere outside that folder. However, there's more to Secure Folder than you might think. By adding an application to Secure Folder, it basically installs a second version of that app that's unique to Secure Folder, leaving it totally separate from the rest of the phone. So for example, you could have two separate photo photo galleries. You could have 2 separate Snapchats, or if you have 2 different Google accounts that you want to use on your phone but you're tired of having to switch between them all the time, you can actually add a Google account into Secure Folder, again, leaving everything isolated from the rest of the device. Pretty darn cool. You can protect Secure Folder with a code, a pattern, a fingerprint, or your eyes. Yes, your eyes. In case you didn't already know, the Galaxy Note 7 does have an iris scanner which works very well, and to be honest, it isn't really a gimmick in my eyes, no pun intended. This adds a whole new level of device protection as you can now use your very own eyes to unlock your phone, as well as keep people out of the things that you don't really want them getting into. And then of course, you have the S Pen and its features. Every year, Samsung adds new S Pen features, and not just drawing or writing things. You can use the S Pen to help you translate words, you can use it as a magnifying glass, and you can even use it to create your own animated GIFs. In my opinion, these new features that are added every year go on to prove that the S Pen is no gimmick, although it may not be useful for everyone. The S Pen is an extension, it's a tool, something that you'll find very useful when you need it and out of the way when you don't. There are other things to consider here, such as the battery life, and interestingly enough, the S7 Edge's battery is a tad bit larger than the Note 7's battery. Both phones perform very well in this department. I, however, have the Exynos version of the Note 7, and this version does appear to be getting better battery life than the Snapdragon Note 7, which is the one buyers in the US will be getting. Snapdragon Note 7 users have reported getting just 4 to 5 hours of screen on time, which is pretty unfortunate considering that I've been getting 6 to 7 hours of screen on time with the Exynos Note 7. And on my Snapdragon S7 Edge, I've been getting 5 to 5.5 hours consistently. Both of them are strong on battery life though, as they don't drain when using them for extended periods of time. Android Police reviewers have found that the Snapdragon Note 7's battery life is very similar to that of the Snapdragon S7 Edge. So overall, both devices have quite a few similarities, but their differences prove to be more than meets the eye. It basically comes down to the price factor. Is the Note 7 really worth the extra $100 over the S7 Edge? To put it plainly, yes. The baseline Note 7 comes with a very generous 64GB of onboard storage, while the S7 Edge only comes with half that amount. That alone is something other OEMs charge an extra $100 for. And then you factor in all of the other advantages that the Note 7 has with its future-proofing in mobile HDR, USB Type-C, a stronger build with Gorilla Glass 5, not to mention its larger screen, nicer feel in the hand, its iris scanner, and of course, the S Pen. It does everything the S7 Edge does and much more. So if you're in the market to buy one of these phones, you'll be sorry if you don't pick the Note 7. I think it's totally worth it. Now for those of you that already own the S7 Edge, don't feel bad and or left out. Remember, it has a lot of what the Note 7 has, which helps it maintain its position as one of the best smartphones of 2016. Well, that about does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to hit that like button, comment your thoughts on which phone you like better, and if you don't have one yet, let us know which one you'll be picking up. Subscribe to Android Police if you haven't already. That does it for me, and thanks for watching, guys.